All right, so we're talking about today the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula. Okay. Let it not freak you out. Okay. It's on the formula chart. Okay. The formula chart that you get for algebra. And if you notice, it tells you what to put in there, right? So the A, B, and C. Hopefully, everyone's mind is kind of going to ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so this is where the A, B, and C come from when regarding this quadratic formula. But the question is, what is the quadratic formula, right? And why do we need it? Let's get some background information first, okay? You definitely need to take notes, and especially since I do let the test be open notes, it kind of makes sense to have pretty good notes to look back on, okay? All right, so last week we learned how to factor, right? For instance, we factored x squared minus 5x minus 6. We wanted to find two numbers that would add to get us -5 and that would multiply to get us -6. We learned this last week. And so what we did last week is we wrote out all the factors. And because I know it's adding to get me a negative and multiplying to get me negative, I know the bigger number is negative, which will leave me with +1 and -6. So I knew my factors were x plus 1 and x minus 6. So this is all from last week. We factored things to find out what two binomials would multiply to get me this trinomial. But what did factoring mean? What else does that mean other than the two binomials that would multiply to get me the original polynomial, this trinomial? So what we're talking about today is what does that mean and how can I use the quadratic formula as well? So if I actually graph this on a graph, how many x-intercepts do you see? Say 2. Okay, it passes the x-axis twice, right? This is we're just still talking about the same trinomial, x squared minus 5x minus 6. Okay, quick reminder though. When I say x-intercept, I need you to make sure you have this vocabulary written down somewhere if you haven't already. Another word for x-intercept is 0. So if I ask you what the 0 is, you need to know I'm talking about the x-intercept. Another word is root. Okay, so all of these are synonymous. We need to make sure we understand that I can say any of those, and you should know that I'm talking about the x-intercept. So looking at this graph, what are the two x-intercepts?
-1 and +6.
All right, so we have an x-intercept, a +6, and we have an x-intercept,
Oh, that's where you saw.
a -1. Yes, where that crosses the x-axis. Okay, let me see. Are we? I don't know. I think Alexa saw the connection already. Okay, so going back and looking at our two factors were x minus 6 and x plus 1. And our x-intercepts are -1 and +6, right? Well, let's make the connection here. Now, this explains it, but I want to explain it a little deeper than this. Whenever we had our original trinomial, that was f of x equals x squared minus 5x minus 6. And we, And we broke it down into its two factors. So this is where I need you to make the connection, and this is where I need you to make the connection. The two factors were x minus 6 and x plus 1, right? Stop, you people. Okay, x plus 1. All right. And if something was asking me for the 0, the x-intercept, okay, I need everyone to make the connection. So I need you to at least try to focus, at least on this part. If I asked you for the x-intercept, right here and right here, at these 2 points, what is my y value? Say it. 0, right? This point is at -1, 0, and this point is at 6, 0. So at these two points, the y value is 0 because anything on the x-axis, the y value is at 0. So if I was to solve, just using my equations, not looking at the graph or anything, using this equation, if I was to solve for the x-intercepts, I can plug 0 in for which variable? Y, right? Because at the x-intercepts, the y is 0. So 0 equals x minus 6 and x plus 1. Well, since I know that, I can set both of my factors equal to 0 to figure out what the x-intercepts are. I can set both of my factors equal to 0 to figure out what the x-intercepts are and solve for x. So looking at this first one, x minus 6 equals 0, how would I solve for x? I would add 6 to both sides, and that would give me x equals positive 6. Okay, if I solve for this one, how would I solve for x? Minus 1, subtract 1. And that would give me x equals -1. Well, what does our graph show us? Perfect. It shows us these x-intercepts. So we can take our factors, set them equal to 0, and solve for the x-intercepts. That is the connection we need to make between our factors and our graph, our x-intercepts. Another word for this is also solution. Okay, if it's asking for the solution, we'll get into that a little bit later, but it's only asking for the x-intercept. Okay, so there's like a lot of stuff. I can't explain for the next unit in 2 units. It's literally all about the x-intercepts, just about the x-intercepts. Okay, so is understanding this connection is imperative. Imperative. Can I have questions? No questions at all? So the big thing I want you to grab is how the factors can give you the x-intercepts. Because on the x-intercepts, the y value is 0, I can plug in 0 for y and set both of my factors equal to 0 and solve for x to find my x-intercepts. So this is how I get both of my x-intercepts. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What, babe?
I'm a but if their y-intercept was like not 0, so it was graphed differently. Would that mean like we would replace y with that y-intercept?
I think I know what you're saying. So if you were looking for a different point, you could replace the y with something else. But usually on quadratics, we're only looking for the x-intercepts. And on the x-axis, the y is always 0. So no matter what. So that's usually plugging in 0 for y. All right. We're not going to watch this. I think, hold on, let me see what it is real quick.
Hey, wonderful. I'm so you kept track. So that's the part as well.
Skips that are happening.
Or so they have two groups.
This is how I watch the choir videos.
So this video, what it is just saying the same thing I just said. Okay, it's saying, so I'm gonna go through it and pause. Okay, so let's say I have this polynomial and I wanted to find the factors. Well, the factors are x plus 2 and x plus 3, okay? And then from there, that's just my factors. Okay, but what if it asks you for the zeros? What would I do with my 2 factors?
You would set them equal to 0.
I would set them equal to 0. So I do x plus 2 equals 0, and I do x plus 3 equals 0. Because on the x-axis, the y value is 0, because this is y equals x squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay, this is y equals x plus 2, x plus 3. So subtract 2 from both sides, subtract 3 from both sides, x would equal -2, and x would equal -3. So my 2 x-intercepts would be at -2 and -3. So I think that's the gist of it all. Yes.
So that's how you just find out.
Yes. Yeah, let me erase my black marks. Okay, so this is the connection I need us to make. This is the,
big thing.
yes. So then you're asking, okay, let's try it on our own. So let's find the factors of 2x squared minus 2x minus 12. Do y'all think y'all could do that within 2 minutes?
2 minutes. You give us too much credit.
What?
No, she
My
can't.
question is, do y'all remember how to?
Yes, I definitely remember.
Okay, so the product is what?
2x. Oh wait, do 2x.
Negative, yes, okay. I take the A
2 plus
times the C, yeah. So the product is negative 24 and the sum is what?
-2.
-2, yes. So the sum is the B value, the product is A times C.
Yes.
Okay, so that has to be, you have to remember this, okay? Yeah, I mean, keep going. Okay, just so that I'm just gonna say it out loud, the next steps. You're trying to find what numbers would multiply to get -24, but add to get -2. You know, there's gonna be a positive and a negative. The bigger number will be negative because you're adding to get a negative. You're gonna split your middle term, group, and find the greatest common factors. I'm gonna give you about 2 minutes. I am what I am, 'cause the great I am.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, so for the sake of the recording, I know that y'all are already past this point, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it. The factors,
6 times 4.
thank you. And so because it's adding to get a negative and multiplying to get a negative, I know that one of my numbers is negative, so the -6 and +4 would give me my 2 numbers. So I'm gonna split my middle term. I'm gonna write it as 2x squared plus 4x minus 6x minus 12. And then I'm grouping my 2 things here. And I'm trying to figure out the greatest common factor. What goes into 2x squared and 4x? 2x. Okay, so 2x times what will give me 2x squared? And 2x times what will give me 4x?
2.
All right, so I got 2x times x plus 2. And then what's the greatest common factor here? -6.
Oh, okay, I did it right. Let's go.
So -6 times what will give me -6x?
1. Negative.
It'll be 1x. And -6 times what will give me -12?
2.
2. So my 2 factors are 2x minus 6 and x plus 2.
Yeah, I messed up. I thought, see, the thing doesn't catch my 1. So I thought it was -2, so I was trying to figure out.
Okay. Okay, so I have my 2 factors, 2x minus 6 and x plus 2. Okay, but I want to find my zeros now. So what do I do with my 2 factors?
You equal to 0.
Set them equal to 0. So 2x minus 6 is set equal to 0, and x plus 2 is equal to 0. Would you please help me solve? Because I'm so confused.
Okay, so you plus after
So confused.
So 2x minus 6, how do I solve for x?
you plus the 6.
Plus 6, yes.
Wait, give you a positive 6.
Perfect. So I'm going to add 6 to both
You
sides.
sounded like the one girl who's actually smart but asked the guy for help.
LOL.
Like, gosh.
Yeah, you sound like me.
So one of the zeros is x equals 3.
That's what I put.
What, baby?
That's where I put that.
What'd you say?
That's where I put x minus 3, like x equals 3.
Oh, okay. What'd you say, Jaden?
Y'all did it really fast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because we learned
Something like that.
Everyone's at a different pace. Everyone's at a different pace. So for x plus 2 equals 0, how would I solve?
-2 by 0.
Okay, beautiful. So that would give me x equals -2. So my 2 zeros for this graph are x equals 3, x equals -2.
I feel like this is not it. Like this is.
I mean, this is just really the intro, honestly.
I know. I was hoping this was.
Because this is what we're trying to make the connection between the factors and what they mean. Now,
Wait, so
you're
we haven't
gonna.
even gotten to the quadratic part yet. Oh.
Okay, so what we're gonna end up doing in a couple of weeks is I'm gonna be like, well, here's the equation, graph it by hand. So you can find the factors, get the zeros. Okay, so I know there's this point at x equals 3, and I know there's a point at x equals -2. And you're from there, you're gonna have to find the factors. I mean, not find the factors, find the rest of the graph. But you're not doing that today. Okay, we're just talking about zeros. Jaden, may I move on? Okay. All right. So.
She told me that I could have gotten it
Mhm.
last year.
So
I told her to put me down in the middle of the year.
That's funny.
My
Okay.
mom was like, I told you we can do it, and you said no.
Mhm. Yep. All right. So the question is, do you see the connection between the factors and the zeros? Okay, that's the big thing. Okay.
No.
I'm ignoring him. But now, what about the quadratic formula? I need you to write this beautiful formula in your notes, nice and pretty and bold.
I'm in
this screenshot.
LOL. No, please write it down. Negative b plus or minus.
Drop it all nice and pretty and hit
LOL.
save to photos.
Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay.
Okay, well, you be trying to do it by hand.
Well, I'm adding it to my notes.
Okay, I believe you. I believe you. I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
I need such screens.
Today I feel like it's about to be over already.
I screenshot every slide and take notes on the slide.
Hey, however you do it.
I don't know, that's what I was doing with it. Every time I do it, it just closes me out.
Wait, Miss Patterson, am I gonna have to remember this formula?
No, this is on the formula chart. However, I mean, this is the first time I've taught high schoolers, but my middle schoolers always have fun memorizing the formula.
No.
They're like, like last year I was like, I'll give you extra credit if next tomorrow or whatever, next time I see you, you can look at me and tell me the quadratic formula. And then they would come up to me and be like, I remembered it. Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a.
Well, man, will you give me a dark forever?
Absolutely not. Right. So why do we use the quadratic formula? We use the quadratic formula to help solve our quadratic equations and find the zeros. So just like we did, we factored something, set the factors equal to 0, and gave us our zeros of that quadratic formula. However, there's another way, and that's by using the quadratic formula. There's actually a ton of different ways, but I'm only teaching these two. Now, some of you are like, why? What's the point? Can't I just factor and then find and set my factors equal to 0? Or can't I just graph and just look at the graph? Yes and yes. However, you're going to get questions regarding this, where people they're going to like, well, where did they go wrong in the step on the quadratic formula? Or which quadratic formula is set up correctly? So that's why we need to know the quadratic formula as well. And we really use this when we can't factor. Okay, there are times when we're not able to factor. So this is when we use this. Okay, so this is kind of what your paper will end up looking like, but I'm gonna go very slowly. Okay. All right. It's really, it looks hard, but it really is not. First, everyone write this down. X squared plus 4x minus 21.
It's not hard. It's super hard.
Oh, excuse me. So it's super hard, not just hard. Writing x squared plus 4x minus 21. Oh, I just repeated it. No, we're going to do it.
At least like the square root part.
Oh, yes. I'm not gonna
do that all by
Yes, it would. I'll show you all that. Okay, guys. All right. So in x squared plus. Okay, hurry up because I'm trying to finish.
I forget that you're recording.
Yes. So all they're hearing is this jibber jabber. Okay. In a quadratic formula, we know it's set up as ax squared plus bx plus c, right? A is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, c is the constant. So here in this equation, what would my a be? So what is the coefficient in front of x squared? If it's not there, no, it's not 0, because if it was 0, then x squared wouldn't be there at all. A 1, yes. Okay, so
What is that plus underscore thing?
boy, just focus. Don't try to go ahead of me. So A equals 1. What is the B?
The 4x.
The 4. So it's just the number, not the variable. And what is my C? Okay, I really need you to really think about this. What is the C? Positive or negative?
Negative 21.
Negative 21. Okay. Okay. In order to do this, in order to do the quadratic formula, you need to know what your A, B, and C are. If you don't, then you won't know what to put in the quadratic formula. Okay. I wish I could just, let me see if I can just make this all black because I want to do it with you and not have it all out here. Now that would be the most. Can I put a shape over it? You know what,
You can draw
Noah?
over it and then draw.
You know what, Noah?
You click the clear shape. You pick the clear shape.
Oh, I did I?
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Thank you. There we go. There we go.
Oh my gosh, she's
All right. All right. So the quadratic formula is oh, I don't want that so big. Okay, there we go. All right, the quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a, right? Well, we have our a, our b, and our c. So we're just plugging those things in, right? Okay, so let's do that. Negative b, so that'd be negative 4 plus or minus the square root of, gosh, goodness gracious. Yes, 4 squared
minus 4.
minus 4 parentheses 1
Negative 20.
parentheses negative 21. Okay, hold on, let me pause because we're going a little fast. Okay, so all we did was plug in the b, so that gave us 4 squared minus 4 times the a times the c divided by 2 times 1. Okay. All right, so all I did here is plug in the a, b, and c. Now, I am going to show you how to put this in the calculator, but for the sake of just doing it all out mentally first, and then I'll show you in the calculator. So first thing I want to do is figure out what all this is in here. Oops. What is 4 squared? 16. So I'm going to have to write a little bit smaller here. Negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16. Yeah, I'm going to explain the plus or minus in a minute. Don't worry.
16 minus 4.
Okay, let's go ahead and multiply this out. Negative 21 times 1 is negative 21 times, this is like a negative 4 because of the minus sign. So 21, basically 21 times 4 is 84. So 64 plus 84 divided by, what's 2 times 1? 2. All right, let's do 16 plus 84 is 100, right? Yes. Okay. I'm gonna have to write this. Let me move it right here. So this is negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 100. So basically all of this right here and here equaled 100. So that's all I did. 4 squared was 16 minus 4 times 1 times negative 21 was positive 84. So 16 plus 84 gave us 100 divided by 2. All right. Let's talk about what the plus or minus thing means. It's really what it says. I'm going to take my expression here, and I'm going to do one where I'm just adding, and then I'm going to do one where I'm just subtracting. Okay? So I'm going to split this up. It's negative 4 plus the square root of 100 divided by 2, and it's negative 4 minus the square root of 100 divided by 2. Okay? So that plus minus just means I'm doing both operations. I'm going to add. Hold on, baby. And I'm going to subtract. I'm going to go ahead and use 2 different colors as well. Okay, what is the square root of 100? 10. So I'm gonna have one where it's -4 plus 10 divided by 2. And then I'm gonna have one where it's -4 minus 10 divided by 2. No, you're like not even paying attention. Okay. So -4 plus 10 is what? 6, and then divided by 2, 3. And on this one, -4 minus 10 is -14 divided by 2, -7. So my two zeros would be x equals 3 and x equals -7. Some of you are like, okay, what? What did we literally just do?
I kind of understand it. I just still don't get the square root part because I put it in my calculator and it said 88. So I know I have to do that way.
No, you don't have to do it by hand. What did you put in the calculator?
Like the actual square root. Like,
Can't see? Or did Jerry delete it?
no.
I am what I am.
Man, if you touch it, it's coronavirus.
I think it's because the square, if you're using this program right here, look, the square root is only on the 4. That's why. You need to use Desmos, yeah. So let me go ahead and show you how to put this into Desmos, and you'll thank me later. Okay, everyone go to Desmos for me.
I'm already on there.
Okay. Okay, and I'm trying to finish within the next couple minutes, so let's go. Let me get this out of the way. Okay, everyone follow along with me, okay? I need you to follow along specifically with me. Okay, you're gonna type in negative b, and we're gonna do plus first. Plus, oh, sorry, we need to put a parenthesis at the beginning. All right, so I'm gonna retype this, but I'm gonna use the minus sign. So go ahead and put a parenthesis.
Oh, so you have to put in both with the plus and minus?
Yes. Well, you don't have to. You could just take out the plus sign and put the minus sign in instead if you wanted to. So negative b minus, I'm doing minus, you can do plus, the square root open parenthesis b squared, close the parenthesis, minus 4 parenthesis a, close the parenthesis,
Oh!
parenthesis c,
Oh.
close the parenthesis. And then if you press outside of this big parenthesis, so go to the all the way, hold on, all the way to the right, divide it by 2 times 2a. 2. I like putting everything in parentheses.
I tried pressing on the parentheses and then I deleted it.
Oh, you can press undo. You see this button right here? Noah, no, okay. Now, if you press this thing that says slider, press it, press all. Now, when you do that, if you put in our A, B, and C value from before, so what was our A, B, and C? Our A was 1. What was B? 4. And what was C? -21. If I do all that, look what it gives me, 3 and -7. It did it for me,
That's supposed to
3
be so smart.
and -7.
Wait,
Wait.
it's the,
So C was -21.
yeah, but it don't go to like that.
No, you have to type it in. So click it and then erase it and then type it in.
Put both formulas in and then you. just
You
write
could,
it.
yeah, put both formulas in and then just put what your A, B, and C are, and it gives you the number.
Give me 3.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? Sophia, you didn't get it? No? I don't have my shoes on, so I'm gonna roll. Negative B. Oh, the C is negative 21. Go to, just type it, click it, and then type negative 21. All right. So what information, did it do it? What information did this, you did?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess I could just put my shoes on.
You broke your disc.
Oh, you forgot the 4 AC. B squared minus 4 AC. Okay. So you can just type in the quadratic formula and put in your A, B, and C to get your answer. Okay. I think I should get my desk fixed soon. When do I really use the quadratic formula? When I can't factor it in my answers, my zeros or decimals. That's really when I use the quadratic formula. Okay. So we're not going to do this one for the sake of time. We're not going to do this. Actually, what time is it? 8:15. We might do this at the end of class. Let me stop the recording and we're going to start